Hello and welcome to Redefining Moments, a podcast designed to help you redefine your moments in your life, whether that's your past and your memories or your current present moment in your life, where you're at now as you listen. It's giving you the opportunity to take a step towards yourself, to look deeper, to know and understand yourself better, and maybe to know and understand others a little bit more. What I'm trying to offer you is an opportunity to see you're not alone in the world, to see that we all share in these experiences, and they're going to be nuanced and different within their own way. But the key part of it is we're all in this together, and we're all able to take lessons from challenging experiences in our lives, as well as beautiful experiences in our lives. We discuss the moments that have redefined us, that have directed us towards a path that we never really knew existed. I know myself from my own journey, when I look back at my life, that I didn't expect to be the version of myself that I am today. And in many ways, I probably expect my life to turn out differently. I expected to not be living with my parents still and probably be married and having children by now. But life doesn't always turn out how we think it should. And I guess that's why I'm here. I'm trying to help us see that maybe there are other ways to explore the world, other ways to live, other ways to access the best versions of who we are. And maybe that path is all a part of us finding our lessons, finding opportunity, finding wonder, and just knowing ourselves a bit more. Because if anything, I know when I get to the end of my life and I look back, I would like to see that I really used this life, this experience, and the connections I had to not only understand myself, but the world a little bit more. So if you would like to come and join me and understand yourself, then feel free to come and listen to my podcast. Today, I would like to talk about the recent observations I've had, and I guess it's why I'm here today. It's talking about the difference between dreaming and making a declaration. Now, I can't take credit for this. I've been working with a wonderful coach, mentor, friend for the past couple of years who's really helped me expand my observations and experiences of the world. And he's introduced me to a book called The Last Word on Power. And yesterday I was reading chapter 5, and it was talking about declarations, and what this declaration, what reading this part of this book has made me realise is so much of how I've been approaching the world, so much of what I've been putting out into the world in terms of ideas, or when I tell people what I would like to be doing, or when I do vision boards, or when I manifest. It's all been about dreaming. It's all been about fantasy, like what I would love to be doing, but it's a dream. It might as well be something from a fiction book, because I can't see it possibly happening within my life in this moment. And with that, I guess because it's impossible, I kept thinking that I was lazy. I kept thinking that oh God, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just get this thing done? The thing that I want most in the world, such as this podcast, why can't I do it? Why can't I get up and just take that action, take that step? And it wasn't actually because there was anything particularly wrong with me. It was just the fact that it was a dream, and I didn't know how to make that dream a reality. Like when we go to sleep and we try to remember that dream in the morning, we can feel foggy. It isn't clear. It isn't tangible. We can't take it from the dream world and make it our reality. And I guess that's how I've been approaching my goals, I guess, and my desires and my dreams. And I haven't really been thinking that is possible. And I think as well, like, I've always been thinking that it needs to be that perfect representation of what I want, or an idea. But actually, the main thing is about starting. The main thing is about taking the action, and that's why I'm here with you today. I'm not planning on editing. I'm not planning on making this a perfect recording. I'm just planning on getting it out there into the world and making something happen, because that's how we make progress. And this is what I'm getting onto about declarations, because the difference between a dream and a declaration is a dream is an idea. It's beautiful, but it's not real. It's not in this moment. But a declaration is a choice. A declaration is, I am promising to be this person today, or I am showing up for myself today, or I am declaring that this is someone who I am going to be or work towards being from now on. And when you make that declaration, it's like a contract. It's a written contract or a hidden contract to yourself saying, this is what I'm working towards. And I guess for me, what I've noticed through this insight and observation is the moments in my life where I have been my most successful or most driven or most enthusiastic and felt so alive as a result of it was when I made those declarations without realizing. And I thought it was the conditions of my situation. So when I was swimming, I had a coach. My parents were taking me swimming, but I declared that I was going to be in the Olympics. And yes, that dream I ended up giving up on that dream when I was 15, but I was so driven and determined to be a really good swimmer. And even though I didn't know where it was going, I trusted that I would go to training. And yes, if I now stood in the position that I am and I said to myself, I'm going to be an Olympic swimmer, I would do things very differently, because I would probably put myself in a position where I would train a lot more, do a lot more land training, and I would consider like the different aspects I would need to get myself into a fit enough position, but also a mentally conditioned position, as well as just opening up the opportunities. How can I open up those opportunities? And the same could be said when I was at university. In my second year of university, I remember having a breakdown because I was like, I am going to be 20 years old when I qualify. I have no experience, no life experience. Why would anyone want to hire me? And rather than allowing that moment to completely destroy me and make me give up and think, why am I doing this? Why am I here? I decided to take that moment as an opportunity to take action. And to be honest, I didn't have to do much, because the next day I was walking to university, and the night before I'd said that I would like to volunteer on a mobile X-ray unit that goes around London, because I trained as a radiographer. And I ended up walking down the end of my street that I lived in London, of all the places in London. London's a big place. I ended up walking right down the end of my road, and at the end of my road was the mobile X-ray unit, and they were doing some work, screening a unit nearby. And I popped on. I said, we're radiography students. I was wondering if it was possible to volunteer. And then the first night I was on volunteering, I met the chairman of Health Education England, which opened up doors and opportunities to go and speak with them about volunteering and getting my university involved. And then I also got my university involved in the Find and Treat unit in London, which is the mobile X-ray unit I X-rayed on. And all this stuff came from one declaration of, I want to get my job, which was back home. I want to stand out compared to the local students who've been working at these hospitals. And I want to give myself an opportunity to like learn more, do more, be more. So it was a small declaration. It was a short-term declaration. So after I left university, I hit a wall. I struggled because my goal, my drive, my ambition, my purpose had gone, because my goal was to get myself the job that I wanted. But then when I got the job I wanted, my life kind of fell apart a bit, because I lost my job. I got fired, I got investigated. I did return to radiography and got that all resolved in the end. But I went through a really difficult journey as a result of that. But the journey has led me to where I am today. And I don't regret anything. I've learned so much about myself. But what I'm trying to say is, like, these moments where I've done well, even when I moved to Italy, and was au pairing, and I was watching TV for the only 3 hours I have free in a day, I realized that I wanted to use my time more wisely. So I decided to do yoga, to learn more about myself, to go deeper into my self-awareness and self-understanding by reading self-help books, to learn Italian. So I took my time to know myself better. So then when I moved out of my parents briefly, when I worked somewhere else, the same declaration came up. I want to be healthy. I want to look after myself. I declare that I'm going to be a healthy person. I declare that I'm going to take action towards a healthy lifestyle. So eating better, sleeping well, exercising, doing yoga every morning, preparing my room and my environment to support that. And that's what I've done recently. I've done the same thing. But I realized that for a while, whenever I look back at these moments, I wasn't looking at the moments from a place of, this is a declaration, this is me stepping into my power. This was actually me instead looking at it from a place of, my power was motivated by other people. So I was actually giving everything out externally and saying, well, this is external. This is something that I've been pushed towards due to my environment, due to my current situation. But in reality, now having this insight, now having this observation, and it now seems so obvious, is I declared that that is who I was going to be. And I showed up every day towards that person until other things eventually got in the way, particularly relationships or work-life balance and things like that. So, but the difference is when you declare, when you choose, it doesn't matter the obstacles, the barriers you face, you just go for it and you figure it out moment to moment. You choose yourself and you choose your dream. And it doesn't matter what other people say or their own beliefs, because in reality, their limitations don't belong to you. They belong to them. And that's something they need to go away and work through. So your limitations belong to you. And it's when we take those steps and when we declare these goals or these ambitions or these desires to ourselves, and we actually choose to be that person from this moment onwards, we give ourselves that power, but we also are able to see beyond ourselves. We're able to give ourselves the opportunity to see beyond our own limitations, to choose the beliefs that we want behind us. So, for example, if I didn't believe that I was strong enough and I chose to be an Olympian, then that belief is always going to counteract the version of me that I want to be. That belief is always going to stop me in my tracks and prevent me from ever reaching that goal. So I don't just have to change my belief, I guess. I have to think I am strong, I am capable, I can do this. Or if I'm not strong at the moment, is it not the fact of strength, but is it the fact that I haven't got the skills yet? So how can I go out and earn that skill or build on that strength in order to be more capable? Who do I need to be in my own identity? Who do I need to show up as? And in some cases, you don't have to think about it. Usually when we make these big declarations in life, I'm sure me saying this, you will think back to a time in your own life where you've made a powerful declaration. Think back to when you've been so determined, so driven, so enthusiastic towards a goal, and nothing stops you because you were just going for it. You made a silent declaration probably that day where you were choosing to be that person, and you didn't have to think about what your identity was or what strengths you needed. It didn't matter because you knew that was your goal and you were going to make that happen. But the power also does come from going, okay, who am I? Who am I being? Who do I want to be? If this is my goal, then how do I need to show up towards it? What does my identity need to be? And the fun thing is we can play around with this. We can explore it. We can determine who we want to be. And the beauty of where I'm at this moment and me doing this podcast is I have worked towards myself over quite a few years now, and I'm a highly analytical person, to the point where I'm realizing recently I need to go more into my body. I need to actually trust the feelings, because there is so much that can't be explained logically when it comes to emotions, when it comes to interactions, when it comes to connections. Sometimes you just know, and sometimes you don't. But it's trusting that logic. But the beauty of my over analytical mind is, over the last 10 years, I've been constantly evolving myself, to the point that when I make this declaration towards myself, when I choose to be the versions of myself that I have been in the past where I have made declarations, I'm able to take the tools and the experiences of those past moments and apply them to my current moment. So this morning I got up, I did my yoga, I did my spiritual practices in terms of like meditation, and I then decided to do this. And I have plans of doing things in a day, but I've organized my life as well to be able to make those practices easier. So I've redesigned my room recently to make it easier for me to get up in the morning and do yoga, to do exercise, to do spiritual practices if I require. I've got my books set up, so it's easy for me to just pick up my book and read in the evening, rather than me being like, oh, maybe I don't read. But I can choose to read a page rather than like avoid it or ignore it. And then I don't know about you, but I ended up having 20 books on the go. Well, not quite 20, but 5. Typically 5 books on the go that are half read, and I haven't quite finished them. And that's okay, because sometimes that's how it works. I opened a book that I didn't touch since January, and then opened it in October, and it had the exact thing I needed to read in that moment in time. But regardless, I'm detouring. But what I'm trying to say is that when we declare who we're going to be, when we declare what we want to be and what we want to do in this world, and when we don't just dream it, but we truly believe it, we truly embody it, it doesn't matter what our environment's like, it doesn't matter where we are at in this moment, it doesn't matter whether we're ready or not. It's a choice to show up towards that. It's a choice to then go, hold on, my environment doesn't support me. How can I change my environment to support me? Hold on, my skills don't support me. How can I improve my skills and capabilities to support me? Hold on, this belief is holding me back, is stopping me from being the version of myself I want to be, or my community isn't supporting me to be the version of myself I want to be. For example, if your declaration today is, I'm going to give up smoking, but you are surrounded by smokers, it's not stop being friends with the smokers, but either make a boundary or change who you hang out with for a while, or put a pause to it just so you can focus on that goal. But your environment, it's not so much what's going on externally, it's your choice to make that decision internally. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. What declaration do you choose to make to yourself today? You can make a big one, you can make a small one, it can be whatever you need it to be. But make a declaration to yourself. Choose to be something today. Have a play with it if you need to. If it's, I'm going to choose to go out and be confident. And what I would say about this as well, just before I leave you, is don't say, I don't want to, when you say this. Because if it's like, I don't want to eat chocolate for a whole entire day, what happens in the neuroscience side of the world is when you say, I don't want chocolate, and you keep telling yourself, I don't want chocolate, I don't want chocolate, I don't want chocolate, then you're constantly telling your brain, chocolate, 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 chocolate. So same as, I don't want to have a cigarette today. Declare that I am going to be a healthy individual today. And what does that look like? Or declare that I am going to be mindful of what I put in my body today, because I'm going to fuel my body with things that support it to be healthy, nurtured, loved. I'm going to give my body love today. whatever it is, whether it's I declare that I'm going to be compassionate and kind to myself at work, what would that look like? And then think about the actions you are taking throughout the day. Does this align with that declaration? It doesn't have to be big, but it's just, I think the biggest thing as human beings is we're not consistent with ourselves in that way. Sometimes we let ourselves down a lot. And when we let ourselves down a lot, we don't just let ourselves down, we let others down as well. But I think, imagine when you're a child and if you kept getting made promises, I promise to be this version of myself, I promise to be this version of myself. Or someone promises you, sorry, there's disappointment, there's shame, there's bitterness, there's sadness. So if we're constantly letting ourselves down, we're going to keep building that shame, that judgment, that resentment. But the nice thing is when you are taking action from this place, it doesn't matter if you have a day where you go wrong, quote unquote. What matters is how you show up in the next moment and the next moment. It's choosing yourself and then going, well, okay, we had a wobble today, or we didn't work towards our goal as best we could have today. But it's okay, because tomorrow is a new day, or this moment is a new moment, because time is constantly evolving, we're constantly moving, and we're never the same person we were 5 seconds ago, let alone 5 minutes ago, 5 hours ago, whatever it may be. We're constantly evolving and we're constantly changing. Our body is constantly evolving and constantly changing. So you don't have to shame yourself for what you haven't done. Just choose to be different now. Choose the action that aligns and supports your declaration today. So I just want to thank you so much for listening to me, so much for being here with me. And I just want to wish you all the best with your declarations today. I hope it brings you more clarity, more joy, more possibility, and more opportunity. And remember, if you don't get it perfect today, there's always tomorrow. Thank you.